Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Surrency, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Hi, this is Rick Surrency. I'm the superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and welcome to our podcast. And I am really excited about our guest today, and I'm very passionate about our aerospace program here in Putnam County. And I'll just tell you this, I've been bragging about our program to other districts, not only here in Florida, but around the United States when I have an opportunity to do so. So this is going to be really interesting. And first of all, I want to introduce my guests, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that are happening that if you're a student out there, I really hope you consider if it has ever occurred to you to be a part of this program. And Colonel Lewandowski, or Colonel Ski as we know him, from QI Roberts Junior Senior High School. And it's a pleasure to have you here. And I'll be talking with you in just a minute, but I also want to introduce two of our distinguished aerospace students. And if you would introduce yourself and what grade you're in, and then we're going to hear more from you in just a minute. Aiden?
Well, my name is Aiden. I've been in the aerospace program for 3 years before this year, so this has been my fourth year. I'm in 11th grade as a junior at QI Roberts Junior Senior High School.
Okay, and Aiden Stewart, by the way.
Correct.
Right, okay.
My name is Avril Wilson. I'm a senior at QI Roberts, and I've taken a lot of aerospace classes at QI, like alongside aerospace and engineering and stuff.
Very good. And it's a pleasure to have both of you. And thanks for being here, okay?
Thank you.
And Colonel Ski, I know we have several things we want to talk about, but kind of give us the overview of the aerospace program and just how far we've come and how far we've branched out.
My pleasure, my pleasure. My students call me Colonel Ski, and this all began when I came to Putnam County in 2017, and I talked to my principal at the time, Mary Wood, and I said, I am an adjunct professor for Embry Riddle Aeronautical University. Would it be okay if I brought some college-level aerospace classes to QI Roberts? And her response to me was, I thought you'd never ask. So in 2018, we started that, and QI Roberts students started getting college credit. And each year, I spoke with the principal. Evidence showed us that things were going well, and the program expanded and expanded and expanded again. Last academic year was the first year we had an aerospace course at another school besides QI Roberts, and that was run by Mr. Chuck McGuire down at Crescent City Junior Senior High School. This year, for the first time, all four of the junior senior high schools are having aerospace courses, and they intend to grow the program too. So if you're interested, you can just stay at the school you're at and ask to be part of that aerospace class. It's wonderful the way it's grown here in Putnam County.
You know, I know that when we first started, Colonel Ski, I think we had initially, because we didn't have, you were the only instructor, we had to use some of our equipment, our teleconferencing equipment, where you could present at QI Roberts and be projected at other schools.
We did have to do that last year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll never have to do that again, but it was a way to expand into Crescent City without hiring another aerospace teacher.
So tell us the next step. What has happened since we got it kicked off?
So besides the fact that we've been able to offer more college courses and more aerospace courses, we've also been able to train teachers, and we've received funding from the state of Florida to give our students flight lessons. So in the past, I've only been able to pay for 2 or 3 hours of flying with the fundraising that we've done on an annual basis. This year, I will be able to give my students between 15 and 20 hours of flight time, and it's going to be for 22 students. In the past, the most number of students that I've been able to fly have been 6. So we're really expanding the whole flying program thanks to the legislature in Tallahassee.
Very good. And I know our two guests here have been a part of that, and I know we've talked some about some of your flight experiences. So our senior, tell us about some of your experiences in both in the ground instruction and in the plane itself.
It's been really nice, honestly, because like being in aerospace, taking the prerequisites for aerospace, it's kind of like I'm seeing it pay off. And right now, like we're taking the private pilots course, which is like ground school. So you learn about how to fly the plane. You learn about like what to do at the airport, all of these different things. You learn about the physics, and then I get to actually go apply it in real life, like on the weekends or on Thursdays when we get to fly sometimes. So it's just really nice to see this pay off. I mean, obviously the classes are great, but to be able to actually get up there and apply what I'm learning has just been amazing.
What was your first experience like when you first went up in the airplane?
I would say definitely nerve-wracking a little bit. We just kind of went over to the beach, and we flew over the beach, and he just showed me some of our maneuvers that we do and everything. It was really calm, really nice, but like I said, very scary. You know, you learn about it a lot in class, but actually going up there is a little bit terrifying.
Do you feel a little more accustomed to it now?
Oh, for sure, yes. I love it. There's no nerves anymore.
Very good. It's sure good to have you, and thanks for sharing that. And Aiden, I know I've talked to you about it before, but talk to us about some of your experiences.
Yes, sir. So like I said, this was my 4th year in the aerospace program at QI. And in this program this year, I've gotten 10.8 hours so far and counting. I'd say that's about average at this point in the year. That's what a lot of students.
And you actually brought your flight log.
I did. I have my flight log here. You can see it's filling up pretty quick. I went with my dad a couple of years ago to St. Augustine, and we flew in an airplane with an instructor. And at that point, I knew I wanted to fly.
Yeah, you caught the fever, right?
I did, the bug.
Yeah.
And so from that point, I enrolled in every aerospace class, and I was pretty excited whenever I heard that we were doing that this year. I actually had to transfer classes into this course, which meant I had to take a much harder math course the way it lined up.
Yeah.
It was worth it, though.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Aiden. We actually met with our new state legislator, Justin Sapp, asking him about can we possibly look at more funding for next year, and I asked Aiden to come in, and he actually shared with our representative his experiences, and I think just so they can see the excitement and what it's doing for our students, I think it really means a lot. So we're really hoping we'll get some additional money to continue the flight hours, because it's not cheap. So we definitely have to do everything we can and look at every resource we can. And by the way, before we get started, if anybody wants to, be involved with this and maybe advise us, or maybe even offer some funding for this, we're definitely, you could reach out to either one of us, and we'll provide some information on the screen where you can do so. But Colonel Ski, talk to us about the dual enrollment portion of aerospace, if you would.
Very good. Embry Riddle Aeronautical University has a separate organization called the Gates Aerospace Institute, and they provide curriculum and training to college professors across the state of Florida, more than 100 high schools across the state. And so that is where I work for. I work for Dr. Conklin, and I learned, and I have credentials from the College of Engineering and from the College of Aviation. I specifically have FAA certifications as an advanced ground instructor and a remote control pilot, drone pilot. And because of those certifications and because of my academics, I'm able to become, and I am, a college professor for 7 different classes that I can teach to my students. And what I brought along here today is the most advanced drone that the university has shared with me so far. This is called a Parrot Anifi AI. It's robotic. It's got some artificial intelligence with it, and it is in one of my sophomore level college classes. It means you're a sophomore in college, that we use this drone. We program this drone. Lots of great things. I have in the program. QI Roberts has almost 30 students who have earned their commercial FAA drone pilot license. And I have 2 or 3 that have completed their private pilot license. So through the college courses, through the ground school, through everything that the university provides, we can get our students a really good start into an aviation profession.
Well, that's great. And that's a great problem to have. And I know that Actually, in our last interview that I've had some students from QI here, Mr. Dollar actually, is it Lance? Lance Dollar?
Lance, yes.
Yeah,
it is
Lance actually talked about
Yes.
he uses his drone to film football games.
Yes.
And, it's an opportunity where he can maybe earn some extra money and all that. So,
Yes.
great opportunity. So, we have some other props here, if you will.
Sure.
So, y'all want to explain what this is?
One of you put that on for me? Thank you. This is a pilot headset. These are used by pilots to make sure they can communicate, because communication in the flying world is really important. You have to talk to the other pilots around you, and when you go into more populated areas, you have to talk to air traffic control. But up at the Palatka Airport here, and where we also fly at the Keystone Heights Airport, there is no air traffic controller. And so it's just you and the other pilots up there, and you got to make sure you don't run into each other.
Well, and I'm sure it's probably pretty loud in an airplane, right?
Very loud, yes.
So you probably, just to be able to talk to someone else in the cockpit, you probably need to be able to have the that protection. What else? And you mentioned your flight log.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, you mentioned before we went on, if you never fly again for a while, you can keep these flight hours and use them later on, and they won't go away, right?
Yeah, Aiden and Avril will keep these books for their entire life. They will use them when they're 50 years old if they're still flying.
That's great. Well, you better guard it. Don't lose it now.
Yes, sir.
What is this? Can you share with us?
This is our Gleam training record. It essentially contains the curriculum which we use when we're flying. So we'll show this to our instructor. They'll see where we're at. Lesson 1, Introduction to Flight. That's basic stuff. Lesson 2, Fundamentals of Flight, basic instrument maneuvers. And so essentially this is just the pathway we learn through the curriculum, the school, to get to our goal of the private pilot's license. We also have the Gleam Gleam curriculum, which we use here. There's a lot of tests, a lot of practice, stuff like that at the school, which we'll use to also improve our skills on it.
And I think the Gleam Flying School, I think, is in Gainesville.
Yeah, we're very lucky. They're right here nearby us. And they provided us, well, actually, through a grant, we have purchased high-fidelity simulators that you sit down and you kind of feel like you're really in the cockpit. There's 3 computer screens in front of you giving you pictures of the grounds and everything. They simulate the Palatka Airport, and every one of the high schools has these simulators.
I've seen those. And
Yes.
those are truly amazing.
It
So
is.
how does that feel to you getting in that simulator? I mean, is it pretty lifelike or?
I think it's definitely pretty lifelike. Having like the 3 screens really helps, because either way you look, you're going to have something outside. It's just like in the cockpit. And it's really nice because Colonel Ski always talks to us about chair flying, which is like if you don't get a spot to fly, you can still chair fly, which is you sit in your chair, you pretend like you're taking off. What do you do when you take off? And you just sit there and act like you're doing it. And this is like chair flying the next level, like because you're actually doing what you would do in the plane.
Right. And I guess when you're flying these type, like Cessnas or that size plane, I'm sure a lot of that is you're flying by sight or instruments. Tell me.
We learned they really press for us to learn how to do both. They like to say inside, outside, inside, outside. So you're scanning and then you're checking your instruments to make sure there's nothing wrong, to make sure you're not losing altitude or anything. And then you go back up and scan and then check your instruments. And so it's really, honestly, they press that pretty much every lesson, just up and down, scanning and coming back to your instruments to make sure there's nothing wrong.
Well, especially too, if you don't have an air traffic controller, you have to know who's around you, right? So I guess a lot of that would be by sight.
Yeah, by sight and the sound, the communications.
Right.
The airports are the busiest areas, and that's where you'll have the most chatter, the most talk, and you really got to pay attention.
Do you ever think about being a commercial pilot?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a career option for me.
Yeah. And again, I can just imagine the awesome responsibility of flying a plane with literally hundreds of people sitting behind you. And I can only imagine the amount of hours you'd have to be a commercial pilot. So I want to thank you all for being here. This is really educational. And one thing I want to do is, if there are students who want more information about getting into the flight program, even though they may not be at QI, they might be at one of the other high schools, who could they reach out to, Colonel Ski?
Well, certainly you should be able to talk to your counselors, and they can tell you who is teaching the aerospace course at your school. And you can look at, it's probably a little too late this year to get into that aerospace course, but certainly in the fall you could join one of them.
Very good.
Yeah.
And if y'all know our two students here, I'm sure they can give a testimonial and on just how exciting they are to be a part of the program. So you have a presentation you want to share.
Yes, sir. I just, we call it swag, and the university, Embry Riddle, gives me this to hand out every now and then. And so what I have here are 3 Embry Riddle flashlights.
Oh, very
And so
cool.
I'd like to share some swag with you and say thank you for supporting us, and for my students. They are outstanding students. I have the best students, and I really appreciate you guys, all of you, not just you two, but thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you all 3, and I want to tell you how impressed I am with your professional dress. And I wish I'd worn my tie today because I'm feeling kind of inadequate, but it does show that this is a professional business, and you really have to present yourself. You guys are doing awesome doing that, and you speak very eloquently. So I just want to tell you how proud I am, and I want you to keep us posted on how you're doing, especially in your college career next year. And welcome to come back and share anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Colonel Ski. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Surrency.
Yes, sir. And we will look forward to having them back in the very near future. So thank you for tuning in today.